What's up, brand builders? Stephen Hurahan here at BrandMasterAcademy.com, and in this video you're going to learn what brand equity is so you can turn your focus and your client's focus towards something that's actually going to make a difference to the value of your brand. Now, if you're new to the channel and you want actionable brand strategy tips and techniques to grow your business, well then hit that subscribe button and the notification bell and you'll be well on your way. Now, when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, the term branding gets thrown about quite a bit, and although everybody seems to have an idea and an understanding about what branding is and what it does, from one person to the next, you're going to get a completely different description, a completely different definition or idea of what it's actually all about. But when we think about the result of branding, well, that is the willingness for somebody to choose one brand over another or to pay a premium for one brand over another. And the value of that willingness is called brand equity. Now, let's look at this from another perspective. Now, I have a very good friend who's in the institutional investment space, and essentially what he and his partners do is they go out and they buy businesses and later on sell them. Now, when they go and buy a business, there are a few key things that they'll look for. First of all, they'll look at their assets. So what assets do they have? They might have some machinery, they might have premises, they might have intellectual property. They'll have a look at their liabilities as well. So any commitments that they might have, any rent or staffing costs or operational costs that they might have. And then they'll have a look at their turnover. So they'll have a look at the revenue they're generating, they'll have a look at their sales process and how much the business can expect to make year on year. And smack bang in the middle of all of that are your intangible assets. So that includes your brand equity. So essentially the brand that you are building, the logos, the fonts, the image style, the website, the positioning, the messaging, the storytelling, all of these things coming together is the brand that you are building. And external parties looking at businesses and looking at the value of businesses will look towards your brand as an actual asset. So how does this affect brand builders and brand strategists? Well, if you think about what you're doing, the elements that you're building, your positioning, your messaging, your internal brand, your differentiation strategy, the personality that you're building, and all of those assets, those visual assets, your brand identity system, your website, and any collateral that you have, what you're doing with all of those, what you're attempting to do and what the end goal is to influence the mind of your audience and influence their willingness to choose your brand over the next. Therefore, everything you do in branding is to influence and grow that willingness. Therefore, everything you do in branding is to grow your brand equity. Now, if you're a professional in the branding space, well then obviously you need to know what brand equity is because it's part of your role. But there are added advantages to understanding clearly brand equity and being able to discuss brand equity with your clients as well. Now, when it comes to branding, as I said earlier in the video, a lot of people have different ideas about what it is. Some people think it's a logo or just a website or just a few messages. But when you're able to talk about brand equity and point to the fact that the brand they are building is an actual asset to their business, it shifts their perspective on what they're building. It shifts their perspective on what they're willing to commit to build an asset for their brand. And it also elevates you and your profile as an expert in your space. If you're able to talk to brand equity and if you're able to talk about assets and growing assets for the business, they won't just see you as a pixel pusher. They won't just see you as a designer or a website builder or a brand developer. They will see you as a business person that understands what you're doing, that understands business, and that's trying to help them grow their equity.